And I love what you said of Gabrielle, your beautiful wife. You said, it's not my job to change who she is. It's my job to be a part of the evolution. That was good. It was deep, babe.
In relationships, we come in and we try to change people. We try to change them to the way that we want them to be. But I decided to start taking a different approach, in this relationship. I think early on I came in like, hey, you get 2 drink max, bop, 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 bop. And she didn't respond well to that.
No, it did not.
It was reasons for that too. Let me say that.
I have a good time. Life of the party right here.
It's not the man leads and the woman follows. That's not what we live in this house, at all. So for me, I have a wife that works not just as hard, harder than I. And she had her own career. She had her own life before I came along. So from my perspective, it was like, okay, how can I be a part of the growth and the evolution of who she is, and not trying to change her or stunt her growth or make her in the way that I see fit.
When you meet a woman, you know what her energy is. You can tell by how aggressive she is. You can tell by how passive she is. You can tell by how much she smiles. You can tell by if her smile is a smirk. You can tell a lot of things. And what this is going to tell you is whether this woman wants a man who's a man or a man who has questionable intent on who he is, who he wants to be, and who he wants to present himself as to the world. And one such example of this is Dwayne Wade. Now, we all know Dwayne Wade is Flash. 2012 finals run, one of the most incredible finals performances we've ever seen in NBA history. We know this, we accept this. Hey man, he has that year marked in history as his year. But we also know that since he left the league, a lot of strange things have taken place in his life. For one, he had a son who is now his daughter.
Kids, I used to put on heels. I used to do all those things. I try to put on whatever my sisters wear. When all my sisters did, I try to do those things.
And he wrapped his mind around the concept that this 12-year-old could decide who they wanted to be when it comes to what they were born as, or what they think they are, or what they feel they are. Didn't do that before, but suddenly this woman shows up. Not just that, but now his own image is questionable. Some of the things he wears, the sudden flair for the obnoxiously flamboyant that is present in his life now. Far cry from the same guy who made that run in 2012. Now he's not just having the powder done on his face for when he's on camera. It's one thing to have makeup done when you're on camera. A lot of guys do that. For the camera flaring or just the way you look on camera. I wouldn't do it, but they do it. But now he's gone so far as to get his face beat, as women call applying makeup from a professional makeup artist for the Prada fashion show. That may not seem like anything to women, and it normally doesn't. But for us men, that's a reason to pause. See, what happens in a man's life, a woman's going to come into your life, and either she's going to assume the position of fellowship, or she's going to assume the position of leadership. Now, how does a woman come into the life of a millionaire, a successful, highly respected NBA superstar, multiple championship winner, and assume the leadership position? It only happens when he's willing to assume the fellowship position. So is it any surprise that this man who has a wife who has come in with a domineering spirit, domineering enough to change him and his son and his whole household around to whatever she wants it to be, was spending $10,000 to $20,000 a night in the strip club with his teammates, which means she was more of a homie to them than he was. She identified with them better than he did. She was one of the boys, which makes him not her husband, but her wifey. See, here's the thing you men must understand. We've seen several instances where this woman has greatly disrespected this man. Here's one right here. Here she is, completely salivating over former NBA player Mike Bibby. Watch this.
Teflon, Teflon, Teflon.
And see what I mean? The energy of this means that when she looks at him, she doesn't see the same level of masculine energy that she sees when she looked at Mike Bibby. And so she does this. And you know what he says? Ha ha ha. It's a funny thing to him because he's just that dude. When you see this type of scenario, you look at this woman's Hollywood history. Look at the history of the role she plays. Whatever role you get typecast into, it's the role that represents the reality of who you are. Think about it. You play it well, you look it well, you act the part so well that it's the most convincing role that you can play. And who is she? The independent.
I don't need no man. I dominate the world. Everybody reveres me.
Type of woman in all of her roles. From Deliverance from Eva to the role she played in Think Like a Man. She plays these roles where she wants to control the dynamic, not just with the women around her, but with the men around her as well. And as you can see in this situation with D Wade, it translates into real life. And here's the problem with her spending 10 to 20K at the strip club. Okay, if you got it to spend, spend it. But D Wade didn't know she was blowing that kind of money. And you know what her excuse is? I just want all the girls to go home with some. No, when you tip like that, you tipping like that, man, because you enjoying yourself with those women gyrating in front of you. Who knows how many table dances? Who knows how many lap dances? Who knows how many times she retired to a private room with one of the girls? D Wade doesn't know why, because D Wade wasn't there hanging with the homies. His wife was.
I was a senior at UCLA and I was paying for school myself and I was just trying to get it done because turns out school's expensive when those bills are in your name and not in your parents. And I'm like, oh, I see why some people try to do this faster than others because this shit is expensive. So I was trying to get 4 more units and somebody was like, oh, you can get an internship, doing whatever for 4 units. Awesome. Let me figure out what the easiest internship is. I found one working with models. How hard, they're all idiots, right? Models, actors, they're all idiots. How hard could it be to work with them? So I got this internship in my last year of school, and I was like the office gopher help or whatever, and I worked in the kids department. So we were working with Hayden Panettiere and Jessica Biel and Shane West and all of those like young child actors, and I talked to their parents and managers and whatnot. And when my internship ended, they were like, would you ever consider being like one of our clients and us representing you? And mind you, I had such low self-esteem. I wanted to be a video host so bad.
Now, what you hear is a woman who is admitting that because her self-esteem was so low, the barrier for entry for her for validation was just to be a video model. She didn't care about anything else. She figured if she could get on a rapper's video, then she would somehow magically start to feel good about herself. Now, I want you to think about what kind of low entry barrier that is. That's the type of thing that exotic dancers strive for. That's this type of thing that we talk about with the whole IG thought model, who makes all of her validation points from showing her body in a specific way. So she didn't want to do something that would give her any type of feeling of being classy. She just wanted to be a video bride. Let's get back into this.
That's all I wanted. I didn't want to be in movies. I didn't want to be in commercials. I wanted to be the chosen video host. And that's what we called them then. Now they are video vixens, IG models. But I wanted to be like a hot bitch, except I lacked all of the necessary accoutrement, like big boobs or an ass. Kind of didn't really, it wasn't really the desired look at the time. I was literally, auditioning for like California Love video with Tupac and 20 of his closest.
So you fell into a really successful acting career when you wanted to be a video host.
Yeah, trying to be in music videos. I was like,
This is the prototypical example of a man not playing the man's role, which leaves a woman to assume that role. Or a woman not playing the woman's role, which leaves a man to assume that role. And in that relationship, there's going to be a lot of confusion. It's going to be a lot of mix-up. There's going to be a lot of crazy things that take place. Here's an example of this woman showing that she has absolutely no regard for the respect level that a woman should have for her husband. Here she is on the top floor of some suite, and she's flashing the world. Now, you may say, no one could see that. Do you know that? Someone may see it, but no one should have the opportunity to see it. She is a married woman after all, right? She is what we call a wife, right? Let's take a look.
If they could see me now, a little gang of mine.
Now, as you can see, this is just the energy that we as men don't want to have in our wives. Of course, women are going to say, well,
She ain't doing nothing. She's just chilling. She ain't doing that. She's just handling her business.
no, she's not just handling her business. She's just being whatever she is. And what she is not a woman who is worthy of being a real man's wife. And some of the things D. Wade has done recently makes you question that about him. Because here's the thing. We don't know what anyone does behind closed doors. But when you get so comfortable with it behind closed doors that you just go out into public and do it publicly, that says that this is your complete and total lifestyle. It's not even something you do behind closed doors anymore. Here's an example of her disrespecting this man once again. Let's take a listen.
Like, does he see me through? Oh God! So I got divorced, and
I was trying to get by.
like like other divorced people, you have a mental bucket list. I had a bucket list of diddles.
I was say, are we keeping it 100?
Let's keep it a buck. I was like, here is my deep, what do they call it? The Red Sea Scrolls of gentleman callers I would like to check their avails on. Check their pulse. And Shaka was like, about 99.99% of that list are boys. And I was like, yes, exactly. I feel tall enough to enjoy this ride. Thank you. I was strapping, and I will hold my arms up. And I'll buy the picture at the end of the ride.
You see what I mean? This just is the history of their interaction. This is the history of their interaction. And she wasn't even no spring chicken when he got it. It wasn't like he was a rich guy, retired man, got him a young tender man who he could, no, he can't even showcase her around like that. Because for the most part, you see her, she dressed up like the dude and he dressed up like the woman. Do what you want to do. But this is the message to you younger men. You don't let a woman come into your life that you've already built and take any control over anything. That 50-50 control thing, how's she going to come into his life and do 50-50 control? She wasn't nowhere near as successful as he was. She wasn't even an A-list actress. He was a superstar, the best player in the league for at least one season, and top 5 throughout his career. So let's be honest. We're talking apples and oranges when we're talking about range and effect in your professional field. And I know somebody gonna come in here and say, well, she did movies for a long time. She probably had as much money as he did. That's the same thing y'all said about Michael B. Jordan and Steve Harvey. Until I revealed to y'all that Steve Harvey's net worth is $200 million and Michael B. Jordan's is 25. Meaning, like I said, he could spend that guy's entire net worth and still be paid. There is no competition for being at the top of your game for a longer period of time than someone else has been in the game. So I say this to y'all, man, in closing. If you have built your life to where you need it to be, which you should before you even consider being in this type of relationship, then how are you going to let a woman come in and partner up with you in a business that you've already built, the business that is your life? You've already built it into a Fortune 100 company, and you're going to sit around and say, okay, you ain't did nothing to this company, but I value you so much, come in and take half ownership of it. It doesn't make sense, and you deserve whatever comes to you if you decide to do that in your life. Don't come over here crying to, oh, she took everything in the divorce, and man, I ain't never know she was going to do me like this, man. I thought she was going to be the one, and we was going to have the one marriage that wasn't going to end up like that. Okay, fine, but we already told you before you did it, stupid. So don't come over here expecting sympathy after you do it and get the result that we already told you were going to get. I'm not saying don't be in a relationship. I'm not saying don't have a wifey. I'm saying don't legally tie her to your shit. That's all I'm saying. Don't do that. Or you're going to end up just like this guy. And the bottom line is, this is not a position that any of us would envy. Stop believing that a woman is more valuable than all the effort, energy, time that you put into your life to put yourself in the position you're in. So you eliminate all of that before you met her, put her in that position, and now she has that value. All of that value, that effort, energy, and all of that, that's half of the value of where you are in life. The rest of it is just being blessed. Don't compromise your blessing to learn a terrible lesson about putting yourself in this situation, which every real man should always question. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think about this topic, man. I look forward to hearing what you men have to say. I'm out.
Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Simps claiming that they pimps, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Suckers claiming to be players, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Tricks acting like they max, but they not though. Alphas up, betas down, it's the motto. Betas claiming to be alpha, but they not though. Now I'm not gonna tell you, man, that you shouldn't value your woman at all. A woman does have value, but you can't overvalue her.